Hello there, and welcome to the Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. This is a guide on making an overpowered archer. Now, it's pretty easy to make an overpowered mage. Lots of gear sets for it that help the crit and the damage that go up pretty well on level ups. But we want to make a mage that can do the same thing. So if you're interested in going around there and one-shotting, not worrying about sneaking around to get that one shot and going around and, you fight a boss, you want to bring them to their knees. We can do that too with our bow build. With some of the skills that we take on this one, you might not have thought of to take in the first place, but you might have, who knows. But let's get started on that. The first thing we're going to cover is our gear. Then we're going to go over to the character stats and then the skills, and then we're going to do some demonstrations at the end with a long ass loading screen to get into the place where there's giants, and we're going to bring those guys to our knees and show you that near the end. But the first thing we're going to cover is the bows themselves. Now, the giant bow is probably like one of the best bows in the game, if not the best one, just because of its radius effect of doing the damage in an area on contact, and that levels up. So yeah, that radius starts at 4, it gets a 0.2 every level, and you can go above level 10. I just wanted to stop at level 10 for now for this here build. But yeah, that's an awesome ability. It has to make contact though, unlike the other bow that we have here, the Thunderous Great Bow. Well, you can see the damage is not as much. You're losing about 10 damage overall, and that one has a 30 damage radius, and that's affected by magic damage too. But yeah, you don't have to make contact. You can just hit the ground and that will go off without a problem. But yeah, it's a neat bow to have. You can find both of these right to start, and we'll show you where you can find those ones right there. I don't remember where we find Devin's bow, but that's the highest damage bow in the game that I've found, and it gives you plus 25% crit, and you get a crit chance if you're lower on stamina too. But who cares about that? They should have made a crit damage by 50% because stamina below 20 is kind of got to make that. But anyways, as you can see, the damage is more 20 to 30 more damage, and that really affects the higher percentage of damage that you get. So you'll be doing a lot more damage. We don't really need the crit, but that means you can have some options on your gear if you're not too worried about the AoE. But let's go there to the map there and find out where those bows are, because you can get them right at the start of the game without much of an issue at all. So yeah, since you start the game where you start over here, yeah, they're both right over here. So the first one is going to be at this little hunter's camp right over here. You climb up the tower and you go out the window on top of the ledge, and there's a little thing right there. You just jump on there, and there's a chest in there you open up, and in that chest is going to be that great bow. So there's your best bow in the game right off the bat. Just make the run to the hunter's camp. No one's going to bug you when you're inside the camp, I believe. But yeah, just run up the stairs, out the window, off the side, and then down over there, and open up that chest. The other one is just over here. So it's going to be up, I think it's up around here or over there. It's not really too hard to miss. You make the run over here, and you climb up in this building here. You take that pathway over there, and then you just keep searching. It's like on a dead body. I think it's maybe here or over there. Yeah, either way, it's not hiding anywhere. This one here is the easier one to find, and you can find this at the start of the game, and a couple zombies aren't going to bug you. They're pretty slow, so you just can go there and nab that loot, and now you got the best bows in the game for yourself, so you're good to go on that. So let's go back to the character build and the gear. So the gear is going to be the most part. That's what makes the game going in there, because on our character stuff right here that we can show you, we have over 100% crit over there. Our range damage is 250%. That's what we want. We got a decent enough attack speed, and really not too much of that. We should do a little bit better on that one. But anyways, yeah, and then we have the critical damage, the weak spot, and then the sneak attack damage, because that's added flavor to it too on our first attack. So let's go back over to the gear. So what we're going to be using for our main set is going to be the corpse binder gear. You're going to have to find that and craft that for yourself. So yeah, I don't remember where you find this recipes and stuff like that, but it was through natural playthrough. I didn't do anything special, I believe, to get it. And this one levels up nicely. It gets 1% on that critical range, critical hit and damage. The max damage doesn't go up any percentages on there, the max stamina, but yeah, it's still nice to have more stamina. But yeah, 2 things that go up in 1% per level, that's not bad. It starts off at 15, or it might even go up higher. Some of these go up by 2%, and some of them just go up by 1, so it's not too bad. The cloak I chose is going to be the dual night cape for the extra crit chance, but since we have some room to actually not drop that, we can. But the increased stamina regeneration is good, and both of those go up by 1 point when you level up there. So you can level this guy up there and get really huge stamina regeneration and extra crit if you want to change some of the other gear later on. But yeah, the corpse binder, we'll go back to that for the gauntlet, I think this is the one that goes up by 2% on the stuff, like because the draw speed might stay there, but the critical chance goes up by 2% on this one. That's for sure, at least 2%, because that's 40% crit off of these gauntlets right there. And now we have the chest guard right here, and then this one here has the damage and the decreased stamina cost. The stamina cost doesn't upgrade, but the damage does by, I think, by 2% on this one here also. Yeah, so range damage by 45% is pretty good for one of those. And I'm choosing to use this Ogre Hunter necklace right here for the extra 33% more damage when you have full health, which you're usually going to have is full health on there. Now the legs, there is no really good choice for legs or boots with this build unless you want to spend a whole bunch of extra points on stuff, but this is not bad. The dual knight trousers, for 35% crit, well 25 and then upgrade it on there. So yeah, the extra critical damage is going to be fun for us. This one here is, I'll show you the expenses on there. This one here is going to cost you 15 endurance. That's 5 more than you need for some of the other stuff on here. That is their standard 10, I guess, for some of it. And this one here needs 10 endurance and 10 spirit for itself. But yeah, this one is nice. The critical damage goes up by 3% per level up and 55% crit, and that's always nice to have that. And for the rings, there's a critical chance of 25% on a ring that I found for range damage, and range damage 25%. And yeah, since we have leeway, we can swap these out there, put regeneration ring on there, or whatever you feel like it when you find your stuff. So that is the gear I've chosen for this build. Let's go over to the attributes. We have, as you can see, I got 30 points. We have a lot of leeway, and that's with putting up that extra points for endurance and spirit to get those up to 15 and 10. That's extra points. Yeah, so with this other gear we have lots of room for other stats, so you might want to put in the practicality, just so it does cap out on price of goods. It does cap out at 100%, either with the skills or with actually putting more points into it. So yeah, just put the points in it. Don't bother with the skill too much to get it up there, because you get the crafting bonus when you're going to do that for money, obviously. But anyways, yeah, you can see the stats right here. Just remember what they are, or screenshot it and aim for that as you're building your character up for the stat you want, in case you don't know, and then put the rest to where you feel like it, depending on when you get the certain items in the game, of course. So let's go to the more important part, is the skill tree right here, and let's get started on the thing that you might have not have noticed before. Bows are not classified as two-handed per se, but they do get the effect right here. I don't think they really get this effect right here. I tested it out, just so you know, I tested it out thoroughly. They don't get that 2% lifesteal for two-handed attacks. So I'm assuming they don't get two-handed for everything, but some things do work, like this one right here, the Mighty Blows, which is the bread and butter of this build. It is really awesome to have. If you played the mage version, and the mage has one, you do critical hits, you knock them down on their ass and they lose all their stamina. Well, this does the same thing. 15% of your damage drains their stamina. Well, the stamina bars are a lot lower than the hit point bars, and you can end up one-shotting a guy and knocking him down on his ass, and he'll, if you can't actually one-shot the guy because they got so much damn hit points, you can bring him to their knees that way with that right there. So yeah, there are things you can put into for strength that are going to be very helpful, and then have a really good effect on you. So there we go. Over here to the general stuff. Of course, the melee damage doesn't help at all, but if they're going to be staggered and knocked down, this is what you can add for skills later on. Not a priority as the other first one is, but yeah, 60% more damage on staggers. And of course, you can just add this one here for your bow. You're using a heavy bow, you're going to get, it's 1 extra point for 10% extra damage for yourself. And well, you get the extra damage from, you don't get extra damage from that one, so it's maybe 2 skill points. And then the extra flavor for that later on. So we're going to go over to endurance. Nothing here we need. Yeah, we don't really need stamina or anything. That you shoot one shot, they die. Then our stamina regenerates pretty fast, so we don't have to worry about that with this. But let's go over to the bows right here. And of course, we can take the basics on here. The bow draw. Holding a bow. You can aim better. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We're going to go for the marksman, of course. Get that up to 100% for that. And then, the 20% on the stun. Because we always want to stun the guy when we have a chance, right? So we're going to stun them. And then you have the faster draw speed. And I like to put this one here later on. You don't need it right away. Once you get your crit up there, your critical hits get a chance to refund your arrow. You're not wasting so much ammo. You can use the better arrows if you want. Then we have the draw speed, which is pretty good. Then over here, this is extra stuff you can take later on. If you're actually going for the weak spot, shots wherever they are. They're not really advertised, usually the head, I guess. But then we get the cheater's trick shot, which is the one I like the most because you get the 10% chance to actually get that trick shot off without actually hitting it, and that's 85% extra damage, so that's always nice to have. The other stuff we don't need. Definitely don't take this piercing volley skill right there, especially if you're using the other bows that have like the AoE effect on them when they hit something. I think it's okay for the thunderous bow, but it might not be. I didn't test it with the thunderous bow. I tested it with the one that has the exploding radius one, and that one there, it just went right through it and it doesn't explode, so that kind of sucks. And there's usually nobody lined up anyway, so it's kind of a waste of a time to do that, and then we don't really need that anyways. When they're below 35%, they're pretty much going to be dead anyway, so we don't need the extra a bleed on there, because we just don't. Over to spirit, we don't need anything on there, but so we don't have to worry about that. Over perception, the ones that we want to take over here definitely right away is going to be the critical tree. Since we have so much crit, we don't need to spend so much points in the critical percent, obviously, since our gear covers so much of it, which we're lucky on that one right there. But yeah, what we really want is the critical damage, so we want to max that out there because that's 10 points each. And then over here we definitely want to put the deep wounds, because every critical hit, 50% chance to bleed. We just want to stack up the buffs. This is something you can do after if you want to, but I think the bleeding effect is really nice, but you don't need that right away. And this one here is just another a stepping stone to get over this. This is the one that we want the most, is the healing off the crit. So we get that extra healing when we're hitting guys. And then, of course, if you're testing on weak guys, you're not going to get much hit points back, because I think it's based on whatever hit points they have is the maximum pool that you can drain off of them anyways for that 4%. So you don't get much back. I get a lot more hit points off these big giant guys that we're going to fight here at the end. So just worry about that. And then, of course, the stealth tree. This is a flavor thing. Take it if you want to. The extra cheat death for extra skill points if you want to dump them anywhere somewhere. But the sneak attack damage of 85%, it's nothing to just ignore, and usually you're going to hit them anyways without even trying to sneak. And the sneak attack stun enemies, another chance to stun them, is always fun to have, but it's not really that much of a priority, but it is nice to get in to as soon as you can. Over here, since we're doing the bleeds, this is something you can add on later. Once you've got the bleeding down, every attack you make is going to be almost a crit. They're going to start bleeding, 30% more damage taken on your next shot. So if they're not going to die, you're going to do some more damage. It's always good. And then they're going to take 75% more bleeding damage. So that's what we got there. It's nothing you need to take right away. And that is it for the skills. I went pretty fast on there. Hopefully you got the gist of it on that part right there. It was going pretty fast. I'll try and maybe slow down a little bit, but yeah, we don't need anything in red death stuff, but we still have 18 points available. And as you noticed, some of the things we don't really need too much. You can prioritize what you want for your building and still get away with it, but there's some of the essentials like bringing them down and the extra critical damage and stuff like that, and it's just really handy to have right away. So there you go. You can check out the bow part right here again. That can slow down. But yeah, let's go to the demonstration and the slow ass part of the loading screen. If you're interested to see it work on giants and stuff, it's going to be a slow loading time. I didn't even prep the loading thing on there, but yeah, that's one pain in the ass part we have to worry about on there. So yeah, don't worry, it's not frozen. It is just really slow loading. I think it's because I got so much stuff in my stash. Yeah, I had a whole bunch I kept everything that was blue I kept, and even like one pieces of blue of white stuff on there. So yeah, this is near the end of the game. I'm not at full health on right now, so we can just go over there. We'll just sneak over there, get close. I think we can't really sneak up on this guy, but yeah, he sees us. Let's go over there. Wow. So yeah, he's down. There's a stamina bar. He's gone. He got my hit points back, and then now we can just keep blasting. So we don't need the AoE stuff on this stuff. But yeah, we can see stamina's almost there. There we go. Stun. Oh, I thought you were gone there, buddy. There you go. He's toast. So yeah, these guys are pretty, pretty hard. That's about equivalent damage that I do with my mage, basically, doing about the same damage. Let's go over to that great bow, because we don't need the AoE for this fight. And if I can click on. Oh, I got a little bit laggy too, so that would. Let's go click on his bow right here. We don't need the crit, but we want to actually just show you the extra flat damage that we get. So let's get going. Yeah, I was playing my mage, and I just swapped over to archer, so every shot is going to level up my archery skill, which is kind of funny. But anyways, let's go over here. And I don't really care about the arrows. I'm just using copper arrows right now, because that's what I just had on hand, I guess. But yeah, stamina's gone. Half his health is gone. I wish it really had damage numbers. That'd be nice. Oh yeah, 3 hits. That was better than before. Yeah, so this is doing more damage than my other previous try on there. So anyways, yeah, the new guy, pretty dead. And now let's go to the giants, and well, probably the hardest guy you're going to fight as an archer is going to be that guy over there, because of his stupid blocking shield all the time. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but if we can knock him on his ass right away, we don't have to worry about him too much. Of course, the giant can fight. So he's on his butt. Oh, 3 hits is awesome. Yeah, got the giant. He's brought down on his knees. Oh, I thought he was dead already. He stayed dead, so I'm not even worried. This is what you want. You go to the end of the game. Oh, hi, giant. You're just going to knock you down on your ass. Have a nice day. I can just walk up in front of you. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, there you go. You're knocking your butt. That's how much time you have to actually hit it again. So that wasn't even a crit. You get a crit, you're going to get almost a 50% chance to get that. So, yeah, bam. Nice, simple, and easy. There you go. A nice big giant, and he's just owned like a bitch, basically. And that's what you want to do. So yeah, if you're running around the regular guys, you're pretty much going to one-shot them. It does the same thing as the mage would do with the bosses. I think I might have actually done a little bit more damage now with this extra gear on there, with my stats or whatever. And, it's 250%. My spellcaster was at 500%. So yeah, 500% damage, and this is just 250. I guess it really does make the difference on the quality of the bow, basically, right? So the base damage off there, and I don't even have any enchantments on there either. But there you go. There you go. That helps a lot. So yeah, you're basically the same as a mage now, overpowered mage. Now you're just an overpowered archer that can run around and do whatever the hell you feel like it. Well, this is where you want to switch to the other bow, basically, right? Bring them both with you or not. It doesn't really matter. You could just get away with a giant's bow for the whole game and not worry about the other one. But this one, you got to make contact to get that. Actually, screw that. I'm not going to hit that guy. I'm just going to cluck them all. Here, little fuckers. Come here. Come here. There you go. Just got to hit one. Now they're gone. Stay down. Stay down. And this is exactly the same thing you do to bosses that actually have a stamina bar. So anything that actually has stamina in this game, they don't really do anything anymore. So you're doing so much damage to them, they're basically toast, one-shot fodder for the most part. Anyways, yeah, these guys here, you're pretty much. Oh, they saw me. You're familiar with those guys. They get pretty strong as you level up. I think they have to. I think that's what they do. I don't know if I have a bow drops there or something. I think I'm maybe close to the edge. Oh, didn't actually get all the stamina that time. Oh, tricky guy. Actually, why am I worrying about it? We'll just heal it back. Oh. There you go. Nice and easy. I didn't even bother to look at what the archery skill does. That's so bad it is. I just wanted to make the build as strong as possible and not worry about anything else. So there you have it. That's enough of a demonstration today. I think you got the idea of how easy these guys are, and have some fun playing with it and build it up as you level up. So thanks for watching, and I will see you later.